Thank you for staying here on Joy News Desk. Now, confusion, chaos, fisticuffs, those were the scenes at Parliament House yesterday as the Jogate Committee probing the allegation of bribery against the Appointments Committee chair and some members presented its findings. After weeks of hearing all sides on the allegation made by Bawku Central MP Mahama Yariga, the final show is set to happen in the House today. Now, Mr. Yariga had alleged that the Appointments Committee chairman, who doubles as the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jose Wusu, and the Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubarak, had facilitated transfer of funds from then Energy Minister Designate Boachi Jako to influence the minority members on the committee in approving his nomination following an acrimonious vetting. Here are excerpts.
Mr. Speaker, cannot therefore rely on the hearsay evidence mentioning two mystery members of the Appointments Committee. Mr. Speaker, in the circumstance, with regards to the first issue or term of reference, which is to establish whether the first Deputy Speaker, Mr. Joseph Osewusu, took money from the Energy Minister, Mr. Boachi Jako, and gave it to the Minority Chief Whip, Honorable Alhaji Mohammed Mubarak Mutaka, to be distributed to the members of the Appointments Committee, the committee is unanimous that there is no evidence that Honorable Boachi Jako gave money to the Honorable Joe Osewusu to bribe members of the Appointments Committee. Furthermore, there is no evidence that this committee can rely on to lead it to the conclusion that Honorable Joe Osewusu gave money to Honorable Mohammed Mutaka for the purposes of bribing the members of the Appointments Committee or for any other purpose at all. Mr. Speaker, your committee is of the view that a multiplicity of rumors does not metamorphosize a rumor into a fact.
If he so pleases, may stand in his place, render the withdrawal and apology. Whereafter, I'll proceed from there.
Mr. Speaker, just like I have every intention to show you utmost respect and act according to your directives. But I'll do myself grave injustice if in rendering the apology, I do not point out certain matters that I also feel are important for you to advert your mind to. Mr. Speaker, in the first place, you set up a committee pursuant to Order 191. First legal question is, does that committee have the power to come to conclusions relating to matters of contempt? Does it have the power? You set it up to find facts and report the facts to you. Does it have the power to come to conclusions on matters of contempt which are clearly spelled out in Order 30, 31, and 32? Facts, not to conclude on contempt, because the issues of contempt are clearly defined in the standing orders. And so that is the first thing that I just wanted to advert your mind to, whether the committee can make findings and come to a conclusion that the provisions of contempt have been violated. That's the first question. Mr. Speaker, the second question is, they use criminal standards determining the burden of proof. Mr. Speaker, if you conclude that you want to use the criminal standard, then you might as well have, during the proceedings, use the criminal process. What is the criminal process? If you call a witness in any criminal trial, he should also cross-examine the other side, so that you can come to the conclusion that will enable you to exact criminal sanctions. You didn't do that. Mr. Speaker, if you say I should apologize, I apologize.
Mr. Speaker, you will immediately recall in my submission, even though the rules provide that when you speak on a motion, you would not have an opportunity to speak on the same motion. I served you notice that I wanted to hear what the majority leader will say to the report. Having listened to him, Mr. Speaker, and even as provided by the committee's recommendations and conclusions, Mr. Speaker, even though the standing orders provide the process for rendering an apology, the Honorable Mahama Ayarga is a member of Parliament. And Mr. Speaker, I should request you, on the heels of what the majority leader suggested, that you probably give him an opportunity wherever he is as a member of Parliament to respond to the committee's report, rather than want to treat him like any other ordinary person. And Mr. Speaker, as was rightly pointed, Mr. Speaker, let me once again, even though the chairman of the committee and the Honorable Majority Leader referred to it, paragraph 142 of the committee's report said, and I quote, "The committee took notice of the fact that the Honorable Mahama Ayarga is not known to have engaged in acts that tend to disrupt the smooth proceedings of Parliament." And Mr. Speaker, he could not have been doing this just on a mission to undermine individual integrities or reputation. So, Mr. Speaker, if you can give him an opportunity without wanting to further invite him to the bar, that will be appreciated. I thank you.
Well, so those were excerpts of what that's what happened in Parliament yesterday. Now, you witnessed Joe Asai-Wusu, the chairman of the committee, delivering the summary of his findings, and Mahama Ayarga reacting, and minority leader in Parliament, Haruna Idrisu, also reacting. But take a look at what happened after proceeding. So that was what happened after proceedings in Parliament yesterday. Let's get an update from our parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Opoku-Gapo, who is in Parliament now, to ask him if the atmosphere is still the same. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Benny.
Yes, so yesterday was a really charged atmosphere. We could see a lot of altercations going on there. But what is the mood in Parliament now?
It's quite a different one this morning. You'll know that sitting in the House every day is supposed to begin at 10 o'clock. But a while ago, I stepped out of the chamber, and the members of Parliament were present as that. When I was stepping out, it was just something around 10 minutes after 10, we had less than 5 members of Parliament on the floor. And so a lot of them have not moved into the House itself yet to then, begin discussions and see what the way forward would be like. But one other thing that we know is that series of meetings are expected to go on this morning, even before the House itself commences sitting. We are expecting that there will be a meeting among the members of the leadership of Parliament, the Speaker, to decide on a few of the issues that came up yesterday, even before they move on to the main floor itself, which appears to be the reason behind how come the House looks quite deserted this morning, although business should have started at 10 o'clock.
All right, Joseph, we know the Speaker of Parliament is to give a final ruling on this matter, is it?
That's the case, except that, just to point out, I'm looking at what is described as the other paper, which outlines the specific activities that the House is expected to undertake today, that's the 31st of March, and I don't see anything like that on the paper. So there are issues about presentation of various papers, presentation of the Appropriations Bill 2017, presentation of the Appointment Committee's report on ministers and deputy ministers, and then there's supposed to be a motion for an amendment of the value-added tax bill and also the energy sector levies bill. All of that are, stated here, but I don't see on this particular paper anything relating to the Geographic Committee's report. But we would also know that Parliament, as they say, is a master of its own rules. At any point in time that they would want to undertake any particular business, whether it's listed on the outline, as in the other paper, or otherwise, they can go ahead with it. So although it's not listed here, we look forward to see whether that would come up on the floor of the House, in the course of the day. But just one other bit as well. You would recall that per the recommendations of the Geographic Committee, they had 2 specific recommendations. Let me quickly go over them. The first one is that the MP for Bawku Central be reprimanded by the Speaker in accordance with Section 35 of the Parliament Act. And then the second one is that Mr. Ayariga renders an unqualified apology to the House in order to purge himself of contempt.
All right.
That second bit is exactly what he was asked to do on the floor of the House, which is rendering the apology. The first bit, which is categorical, that he be reprimanded by the Speaker, that in this case, Professor Michael Quay, was not exactly stated on the floor of the House. Professor Quay did not give any specific directive in that regard late last night as the House adjourned sitting after discussing the issue of the bribery investigation scandal. So it's expected that that's the bit that the Speaker will be giving a firm directive on. It's unclear what his reprimand will be, but it's that bit of it that he'll be tackling today when he outlines exactly what the way forward should be as far as acting on the report by the Geographic Committee is concerned.
Well, Joseph, we heard from Mr. Treme, who is the Majority Chief Whip in Parliament, saying that Mr. Mahama Ayariga's apology was rejected by the House. Do you have any updates on that, or it was just his personal opinion, or we know for sure that the House actually rejected the apology?
That is something that you would expect the Speaker himself to also pronounce on eventually when he addresses the issue today. The House itself, Mr. Alexander Treme, who is the Majority Chief Whip, is with the majority side. It looks like that's the view that a lot of the members on the majority side hold, that he was supposed to have rendered an unqualified apology, but that's not exactly what he did. But when you listen to those on the minority side, they think that what Mr. Ayariga offered could pass for an apology, just as the Speaker had asked him to do. So on that bit as well, probably the Speaker himself would be able to give a very firm ruling as to whether he accepts that apology or he would have him to render the apology all over again. Because the interesting bit is this, that in asking him to render the apology, the Speaker asked that he appears before the bar. So it was expected that he would move away from his seat and get all the way to the very front side of Parliament, right in front of the Speaker. And that's where he was expected to offer that particular apology. The difference is that in that sense, he's considered more like less of a parliamentarian, moving him from his seat come address the House there. Usually that's what is done when people are held in contempt of Parliament. People who are not parliamentarians are held in contempt of Parliament, and they are dragged before the bar to offer the said apology. You would see that the Minority Leader, Haruna Idrisu, and also the Second Deputy Speaker, Alban Bagbin, intervened and requested that the Speaker allows him to render the apology right in his seat. So for now, it's unclear whether the Speaker accepted that apology that he rendered right in his seat when he had directed him to come before the House generally, in the middle of the entire Parliament and render that apology. So we look forward to see what the ruling of the Speaker will be as far as that is concerned later in the day.
But we are not sure if that is happening today, are we?
For now, it's not exactly listed on the items with the business that Parliament will be undertaking, but from what we've known all along, when it comes to some of these issues, they may not be listed on the item and, as one of the agenda for the day, but it may be thrown in the course of the session, except that it's a very busy day for the House today. They are supposed to pass what is called the appropriation bill, which will allow government to spend the money that was approved in the 2017 budget. The indication is that today is the deadline for that. So that may well be the specific focus for the House as they begin sessions. And it's likely that session is not likely to start anytime soon this morning because of the series of meetings among leadership that's expected later today.
All right, Joseph, thank you very much for those updates. Let's now speak to Mr. Whittle. He's the boss of CHRAJ. Thank you, sir, for joining us here. Now, have you seen the report?
Oh, unfortunately not yet.
All right, but I'm sure you may have heard all the arguments that are coming up over the report. From what you're picking up from radio and from the public domain, are you satisfied?
I think it will be better to wait for the report and then to study it. It will be presumptuous of me to listen to snippets from people and then become satisfied or not.
Okay, now, before the committee finished with its work, you had said that CHRAJ would do your own investigations if you're not satisfied with this. But there's been a lot of debate over whether it was even right in the first place for Parliament to investigate its own self. Your brief comments on that, sir.
I have already told the public that Parliament is a master of its own procedures. The law allows Parliament to investigate itself. And so that is not an issue at all.
All right.
The question is whether what they have done is sufficient to pass the test of, an institution like CHRAJ, which is supposed to look into corruption issues.
All right, Mr. Whittle, so we'll give you time to go through the report and we'll come back later to you for your comments. Thank you so much for your time.
Very well.
But let me take you now to the Information Ministry, where Information Minister Mustafa Hamid is addressing a press conference, giving a detail on the President's itinerary or plan for his trip to Kumasi.
Arrangements. He, on Sunday, will attend church services in 2 churches, at the St. Cyprian's Anglican Church and then also the Bantama Methodist Church in Kumasi to interact with the Christian folks. And then also he would visit the Central Mosque in Kumasi to interact with the Muslim people as well. And then that will be the end of his schedule. But having announced to the people of the Ashanti region that he's coming, the NPP party in Ashanti region has decided that they would host the president to a rally, on Sunday afternoon. Basically to if you want, show their gratitude to the Almighty God for helping them, prosecute a successful campaign which made him the president of Ghana. And he has graciously accepted to attend the rally, and through that rally to be able to address the Ghanaian people also on pertinent issues that face our country and how he hopes to tackle them. So basically, this is the arrangement and the program of the president this weekend. And because it is going to become an institutionalized arrangement where he would be visiting a region every month, we thought that it is important to put it out in an organized manner. So thank you very much for coming, and God bless us all.
Let me ask, remember under President Bawku, we used to have this
People's Assembly. Is this a form of People's Assembly where the president will be engaging the public, or there will be a forum where the people of Ghana will have one-on-one interaction with him like it used to be under President before?
Yeah, in our case, we hope to facilitate as many informal meetings as possible between the president and the citizens. For example, going into the markets and holding hands with ordinary Ghanaians in the markets and talking to them and listening to them is a form of people interaction. I follow me. Going to the mosques, going to the churches. So in our case, it will not be just a one-off, one standard format of interaction with the people, but as much as possible every month, wherever Ghanaian people are, in marketplaces, in mosques, you know, at town hall meetings, etc., we would always organize this program to enable the president to interact constantly with the people, rather than waiting 1 year to organize one single forum.
The many have said that the president is going to the region because of recent troubles there, the Delta Force and the likes. Many have said that he's going there to calm matters within the party, and also some communicators of the party boycotting the appearance on TV and radio. So he's there to bring tensions now. Would that be part of the itinerary?
No, that's not part of. I already, as you can see, I've outlined the itinerary, and that's not part. And indeed, it's not the reason he's going. I've already said that this is going to be, this is an institutionalized arrangement where every month he will visit a region. I mean, we cannot envisage what trouble will come next month when we are going to the next region. So, but if by accident something happens and he's there, it's purely accidental. It has nothing to do with this matter. Otherwise, it wouldn't be institutionalized, as I said. Otherwise, it would just be to go to Ashanti region and that's all, and wait until there is, in quote, trouble in another region. But that's not the case. Every month, once he's inside Ghana, he will make sure to be in a region to interact with people. All right. Thank you very much.
In terms of the
So that's Information Minister Mustafa Hamid there, giving us an idea of what the president is expected to do on that 3-day working visit to the Ashanti region. Now, we know he's arrived in Kumasi, and he did that a while ago, and Kumasi is the Ashanti regional capital, if you don't know. But in the past weeks, Kumasi has been in the news for mostly negative reasons. First, it was our own special assignment documentary, Next to Die, produced by Seth Kwame Boateng, highlighting the plight of mothers and babies at the mother and baby unit of the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital. Averagely, we know 4 babies die every day there. Now, then it was the physical assault on Mr. George Ejay, appointed by the president as the Ashanti Regional Security Officer, and he was assaulted by members of pro-MPP vigilante group Delta Force. So a lot of people are hoping the president will address these issues once he reaches the Ashanti region. Briefly, we'll be finding out what people in Kumasi are expecting from his visit. But before that, we'll take a quick breather. We'll be back with more.